Great. Since you're excited, let us all stand and with a loud hand clap, welcome ourselves to this wonderful event. Can we all stand up and just welcome everyone who made it today? Awesome, awesome. You can take your seats. My name is Nicholas Muneza. I'm the Planning and Coordination Specialist at UN Women Rwanda, and I'm happy to be your MC today. I'm looking forward to great insight that is going to come out of the views and the opinions and all the issues that are happening around tech and innovation that are going to be shared here today. Now that I have the energy, I think we can start. Honorable Minister of Information, Communication, Science and Technology and Innovation of Lesotho, Mr. Thoti Morasi, senior government representatives from Rwanda, African Union member states, Director of Women, Gender and Youth Directorate, African Union, Ms. Prudence Ngwenya, representatives from development partners, our esteemed partners, speakers, and innovators, youth delegates from across the continent, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. You are all welcome to this important side event that's alongside Youth Connect 2024 edition, that is marked with the title of Empowering the Next Generation of Women Inventors, Tech Innovation, Startup Pathways for Young Women in Africa. And this is co-organized by UN Women in collaboration with Smart Africa. You are all welcome, and we are more than happy to have you here today. We are looking forward to great ideas that are going to come here, to great ideas that are going to move the next generation of technology and innovation. Right now, allow me to start our agenda. Our agenda, as was shared with you, we won't go into the nitty-gritties of it, but we will start. It's going to be followed to the letter, and if anything falls short, we'll only confirm that nothing is perfect. So right now, allow me to introduce our first speaker, who's going to bring to us our introductory remarks, Ms. Janet Kem, UN representative, UN Women representative that will come and present. But on behalf of Ms. Janet Kem, we'll have Tikikel, who will come and stand in for her right now. Ms. Tikikel, you are welcome. She'll come say a greeting to you, then Tikikel will come and present the introduction remarks.
Hello. African youths, are we doing well? You are all welcome to Rwanda for this edition of the Youth Connect Summit. It is our pleasure as UN Women, together with Smart Africa, to bring you together to talk about skilling and jobbing for youths through innovation. And I know, sitting there and listening to, we were here at an overflow room, what the youths from I think Zimbabwe were talking about, the energy, the passion, and the strength in the youths. Africa counts on you. You are the future of the continent, a continent that looks forward to be more prosperous, to have its place in the global arena, to be more integrated and resilient, and a continent that counts on its youth to carry forward this vision. As we hear from you, nothing about youths without youths, nothing about us without us. And we are here to see that energy in you, to hear from you, to co-create solutions to some of the pertinent issues that we know are impacting our youths in the continent, but we are no longer the ones to give the solutions are with you. And with these few remarks, and welcome to everybody, our partners that are here with us, representative from the government of Rwanda, representative from our development community, representatives from the UN, and this wide diversity of youths in the room, you are welcome. Thank you very much. So with this, I call on my colleague, Ms. Tikikel, to come and deliver UN Women's remarks.
Good morning. Good morning, young people of the continent. We need the same energy. We need the same energy that Nicholas tried to inspire. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Really a great pleasure to have you here. I have the honor of standing on behalf of my representative to deliver the keynote, which sort of sets the scene for this conversation we'll be having for the next 1.5 hours. But again, allow me to stand on existing protocols to really appreciate your interest and your commitment to drive the continent's socio-economic development and peace agenda. You are at the center of the discussions, and really hope that you will be able to share your insights in this important gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, our young people partners, as we fast approach the 2030 SDG timelines, as you know, almost less than 5 years, and more than 10 years since we adopted Agenda 2063, we cannot underline enough that innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship remain key driving forces of change, the change we want to see. An Africa that is integrated, prosperous, inclusive, peaceful, innovative, and knowledge-based, and sustainable. In Africa, where youth make up more than 70% of the population, investing in young people in technology is hence a crucial strategy for accelerating economic development, social transformation, and sustainable growth. One notes in particular that in the post-COVID world, digital technologies took up an increasingly important role in both societal and individual lives, as you agree. Whilst at the same time we witnessed heightened digital inequalities, perpetuating the persisting gender-digital divide, including in digital access and skills, the increased online and technology-facilitated gender-based violence and discrimination, the lack of gender responsiveness of technology, innovation, and digital services to the needs of women and girls, including the most marginalized, as well as the lack of inclusivity of innovation systems and ecosystem. A central theme of today's session is really, what are the strategies for making innovation ecosystems work for women and girls, including to enhance their full and effective participation in leadership as part of the tech workforce? Because to date, it continues to be dominated by our men and our brothers. I tell you why I'm saying this, because according to the African Development Bank, women make up approximately 30% of the entrepreneurship landscape in Africa. A report carried out by UN Women and UNCTAD, which is the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, we realized that women's participation in Africa's digital economy and tech sectors remains disproportionately low, with estimates suggesting that women represent only 10 to 15% of the tech startup founders across the continent. Moreover, data from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report on Africa shows that while women are starting businesses at a high rate, particularly in social sectors, their involvement in high-tech and scalable startups is much, much smaller. This is, among others, attributed to the lack of gender transformative focus in innovation ecosystems that attract, train, and promote women in STEM careers and support women's entrepreneurship. But this is a reality that's not far from what is happening globally. As highlighted at the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, which is the largest intergovernmental women's platform, which identified that progress towards gender equality in technology and innovation continues to be far too slow, and it's across all indicators. And yet the challenges that underpin the gender-digital divide continue to be treated as a side topic in discussions on digitalization, which is why at this point we really need a paradigm shift to transform global, regional, and national commitments to close the gender-digital divide to concrete benefits for women, girls, especially young women. At the UN Women, we recognize that empowering young women in tech and innovation is not just a matter of providing equal opportunities, but rather it's about creating an enabling ecosystem where their talents can thrive, where their ideas can flourish, and where their leadership can reshape Africa's future. We have seen the power in empowering young women or young girls through hands-on trainings in robotics, programming, among others through our programs such as the African Girls Can Code initiative, which you might have heard about, which has equipped young women with essential skills, opening doors for future careers in tech fields. The impact is evident in the stories of our alumni, many of whom have gone on to become software developers, mentors, and community leaders. We have some of them here, thankfully, and really commended for their efforts in that regard. Their success is a testament to the importance of investing in young women and girls and the potential we can unlock when they are given the opportunity to pursue their dreams. So this parallel event where you are here should be more than just a dialogue. It's an opportunity where we can identify concrete solutions to bridge the gaps that I mentioned earlier that are holding back many Africa's brightest young women. So allow me to really call on you to really actively engage and contribute on what can be done to ensure that young women have the support and resources they need to build the next generation of tech startups, innovation solutions, and sustainable businesses that will contribute to Africa's socio-economic development. As gender equality advocates, all of us, and ecosystem stakeholders, we have a collective responsibility to create the environments and opportunities that will allow them to unlock this potential. So very much grateful to our distinguished panelists who joined us today to share their insights. We really count on your expertise and perspectives that are very much essential to this conversation, and we look forward to the conversations and discussions as we work together to identify workable strategies and approaches to support young women in tech and innovation sectors. To the young women who are here, whether you are innovators, entrepreneurs, or aspiring leaders, you are the change makers of tomorrow. Your vision, creativity, and resilience will shape the future of this continent. And to the young women, you are the champions that we expect to really lead and support women change makers, become the change makers they are. UN Women is committed to being a partner in that journey, amplifying your voices and ensuring that you have the tools, networks, and opportunities to succeed. I look forward to fruitful conversations. And once again, thank you very much for your presence. That will be my keynote remark on behalf of my representative, who is also here. Again, wish you a good meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tiki Kel. She deserves more than that. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to fruitful discussions today. And I know by the end of the day, we'll be very happy that we came here. Without further ado, we are going to invite another speaker for the day. For another additional remarks, we will have Mrs. Rim Jarul, the unit manager, technology-driven entrepreneurs for Smart Africa, to give us another remarks. Let's give them a round of applause as they come up and
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to this event. My name is Rim Jarou, and I am Tunisian, and I hope I'm not the only one representing North Africa here. So, welcome to beautiful Kigali, welcome to Rwanda, and welcome to this event. I'm happy to give these few words, opening remarks, on behalf of Smart Africa. So it is an honor to welcome you all to this important side event, and it is jointly organized by Smart Africa and UN Women. The Youth Connect Summit is a critical platform for accelerating youth engagement in Africa. In Africa's socio-economic transformation. We gather here today, as we gather here today, we are reminded that Africa is home of the world's youngest population, with 42% of the global youth expected to reside on the continent by 2030. This demographic shift represents an opportunity, but also a challenge for the continent. At Smart Africa, our mission is to transform Africa into a single digital market, a single digital space where every African youth and every African woman can thrive and benefit from the Africa's market and Africa's unique demographic dividend. We recognize that achieving this vision requires empowering youth, especially young women, who are often underrepresented in the tech and innovation spaces. And I'm happy to see many, many young faces here, and that you are part of this dialogue and not the subject only or the topic only of this dialogue. Cornerstone of this mission, the Smart Africa, so allow me to highlight some of the Smart Africa's initiatives that are mainly dedicated to youth, women, and digital entrepreneurs. Allow me to start by Smart Africa Women and Girls in ICT initiative, which seeks to bridge the gender digital divide across the continent. Through this initiative, we empower women and girls by promoting access to technology, developing digital skills, and creating pathways, both in STEM education and in tech entrepreneurship, ensuring that they are not left behind and are actively participating in the digital economy. Furthermore, the Smart Africa Digital Economy, the Smart Africa Digital Academy for Youth and Entrepreneurs is another instrumental initiative of Smart Africa that empowers African youth, particularly young women, with industry-aligned digital, technical, and entrepreneurial skills. Through competency-based training and strategic partnerships, SADA for Youth provides youth with the knowledge, tools, and resources essential to thriving in the tech industry and emerging digital economy. By fostering inclusivity and addressing gender disparities in digital competencies, SADA for Youth contributes to unlocking Africa's vast human potential, driving sustainable socio-economic growth and positioning youth as leaders in Africa's digital transformation. We are also proud to highlight the work of Smart Africa network of incubators and accelerators. The Sanya initiative, what is the flagship initiative for Smart Africa when it comes to developing entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship for youth and women. And we do this through three things. The first is we support policies and we support the environment transformation towards a more conducive environment for youth and for young entrepreneurs. The second is we are empowering the entrepreneurship support organizations to support these youth. And the third is that we work on providing and developing an African investment ecosystem for African startups. Investment is one of the most important challenges for entrepreneurship on the continent. Our today's event centers on a critical mission to address the missing link for young female tech entrepreneurs by exploring solutions across policy, finance, infrastructure, and innovation ecosystems. By the end of this session, we aim to spotlight the remarkable work of young female innovators, foster dialogue on systemic barriers, and propose actionable steps to create a gender-inclusive tech landscape in Africa. And we are very thankful to the speakers and to all the participants that accepted and that are here to drive this discussion. Through our discussion, we will gain valuable insights from our inspiring speakers and panelists who share their experiences and strategies overcoming the barriers in tech entrepreneurship. However, and I join my colleague from UN Women here, this event should not end as a mere dialogue. It is a call to action. Let us push the narratives beyond this event. Let's use this platform to build partnership, mobilize resources, and commit to creating sustainable pathways for women-led startups. Let's this event be a milestone where we can confidently say at Youth Connect Africa 2024, I made a pledge, and here is what I have accomplished since then. In closing, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to UN Women Rwanda for their unwavering partnership and leadership in advancing gender equality. UN Women Rwanda has been instrumental in empowering women and girls across the country and the continent and driving initiatives that break down barriers and create opportunities in sectors where they are often underrepresented. I would like to thank our partners and all of you here today for your dedication on this vital cause. By working together, we can ensure that Africa's digital future is not only innovative and prosperous, but also inclusive and empowering, with young women at the forefront of this transformation. Thank you very much, and bon événement à tous. Merci.
Thank you very, very much, and that's great work that is being done. I think young female entrepreneurs need support in policy influence. They also need support in their entrepreneurship work, but also what they're doing is good to create an ecosystem that is Africa-friendly for young female entrepreneurs. I believe they deserve another round of hand clap. Thank you for the work that you are doing. Next on the agenda, we have a group photo. I am going to call all of you to come up front, and we will have to keep this meeting in our memory. So for us to take away this memory, we need to have a photo that will keep us remembering this remarkable meeting. The comms team will guide us. I have been informed that we have translations for those that may need translation to another language. Please, there is a booth behind. You can keep the gadget. You can go pick the gadget. It will help you to know what is being talked about. We are going to go ahead with our group photo. Please stand up. Let us have the group photo now. Comms team, you will guide us on this. Maybe you put chairs in the front for a few people to sit. Let's do this. All right. You may sit. We are going to take a group photo. Correction, sorry for that. We are going to take a group photo for speakers, starting with the speakers. Then after the panel discussion is when we shall have a group photo. We have realized that there are many of the people that haven't come. We may be missing out some people. So comms people, please come guide us on this so that the group photo can be taken so that we can save time. Sorry for that. Thank you. They will come here and they will make their speeches. We will start with we have two. We have Grace, we have Barabose Joy, and we will start with Joy. Joy will be giving us a 5 minutes presentation. Joy is a dynamic femtech entrepreneur and the co-founder and the CEO of Lunar, a digital platform revolutionizing women's health and wellness across Africa. It's based in Kigali, Rwanda. She is dedicated to providing access to high-quality healthcare solutions, and it's tailored to women's needs. From adolescence to menopause, Luna focuses on critical areas such as menstrual and reproductive health, empowering women to take charge of their well-being. And in addition, Joyce founded the Circle, a physical wellness space of offering mental health support community healing circles, and wellness services. This circle serves as a sanctuary for women to connect, to heal, to grow in a supportive environment. And together with me, please welcome Joyce. Joyce, you are welcome.
Oops. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Just a quick check to see if my presentation, good. I'm very honored to be with you here this morning, and thank you, UN Women and the whole team for inviting me and to be part of this memorable event. My name, as mentioned, is Verabose Aline Joyce, and I'm a women's health advocate and a femtech entrepreneur. I own a startup called Luna, Every Woman, Every Face, providing access to women's sexual reproductive health care services and product. My innovation, the reason why we started, was mainly due to the fact that when it comes to women's health, we're still way far behind, and in terms of research to understand the women's sexual reproductive health care journey, all the way from period into menopause. And we still, on the continent and also globally, do not have enough innovation that addresses correctly how women's healthcare is provided. Okay. And that also applies to the kind of access that women are getting, but also education that both women and men have around women's sexual reproductive health care journey. This is why, when it comes to women conditions such as PCOS, endometriosis, globally, it still takes women about 10 to 15 years to get the proper diagnosis. And even then, 40% of African women still do not have quality access to women's healthcare services and products. And this is obviously with the underlying issues of the stigma and taboo surrounding this sexual reproductive health conversation. So when we started Luna was basically to be able to address this big femtech market that is actually expected to reach about $25 billion by 2030, presenting a huge market, considering that women actually make about more than 51% of the population. And 8 out of 10 of women currently are looking for better services in terms of care, support, and products that are available on the market. So what we do at Luna, we created a web platform that allows women to easily find verifiable professionals such as gynecologists, therapists, doulas, midwives, any type of profession that is needed to take care of women's sexual reproductive health care in this journey. Our web platform is so easy, obviously compensate an area where they can do telehealth consultations and also buy these particular products that are on the market with the reviews from different wide range of different women using these products. This is our link. You can be able to visit our platform in order to engage and understand more what we do. But since we started 2022, which is not very far long ago, in a very new area on the continent, we have successfully been able to actually currently provide more than 500 different consultations. Our community have increased to more than 2,500 members, both on the platform and physical. We also won Wellness and Health Award this year, providing a huge milestone into the support of both the government of Rwanda to recognize the need for women's health care. And as mentioned in my introduction, we now opened a physical wellness center that serves women's mental health in issues that are less talked about, like postpartum depression or the issue of increase of depression in women who are in their menopause. Starting this journey, obviously, we need a lot of partners. as challenges present, we need more innovators to enter into the space in creating different devices that can uplift and advance women's healthcare, reproductive health care. But we also need more research to truly understand what a woman is going through during her reproductive health care journey. And this calls mostly for education and all the funders to come into the space to really carefully invest in this space. We are still talking about where are the women in clinical trials, you know? Where are all the innovation and access? And when are we gonna actually reach a time where we cannot just serve as a platform of Luna, majority of our members in Kigali or in bigger cities to start expanding and reach the most vulnerable population that do not just live in the urban cities. So this is my invitation, obviously, to join our journey, but most importantly, to call you upon into thinking, what can you do? What is your role? Because the challenges being both in this new sector and being a woman entrepreneur are many, from funding to access to understanding to support. The ecosystem is big, yet it needs all of your support. So I invite you to join the Femtech revolution on the continent, and thank you very much.
You can do better on that one. She's doing a great job. Thank you very, very much. We like to recognize Madame Prudence Ngwenyi. She has just come in. Please stand for recognition so that we can say hello to you. She's the Director of Women, Gender and Youth Directorate. We are very happy to have you today. We'll continue with our second speaker. And these ladies are doing great things. We are happy to have them today. The next speaker is Grace Usenge, an award-winning entrepreneur, self-taught web designer, and the co-CEO of Kuza Africa, a transformative hub in Kigali, empowering fashion entrepreneurs through tech-driven solutions and sustainable business practices. She is also the founder of Ayana Handmade, a natural beauty brand based in Nairobi. This promotes beauty and entrepreneurship for African women. And with over 7 years of experience, Grace leverages her expertise in product development, operation, and marketing to support aspiring creators across Africa. A strong advocate for sustainable entrepreneurship, she spearheaded Rwanda's first ever Slow Fashion Week, inspiring a new generation to build impactful and resilient business. With a warm hand clap, let's welcome her to the platform.
Good morning. It's such an honor and a pleasure to stand here before you today. My name is Grace Usenge, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Kuza Africa, where we are empowering African women and youth in fashion design through digitizing the fashion industry. Now, before I get into the details of how we do that, I have a question. When you think about fashion, what comes to your mind? I have a guess. You thought of a physical product, a blouse, a skirt, a pant. Now, we are in the business of changing that. I'd like you to imagine a young, very talented woman. Let's call her Amina for today. She's very talented, and she hopes to share her designs with the rest of the world. But Amina has grown up knowing and being told that the fashion industry is only a physical product only industry. And she needs to set up an atelier, a workshop, hire a tailor, buy machinery, cut and sew. However, Amina doesn't have the resources to acquire all this. And so she's left with her ideas and her sketches, but no way of realizing all this beyond her notebook. Now, Amina's story is not unique. Thousands of women across Africa are faced with similar challenges. They're very talented, but their creativity is limited with the perception that the fashion industry is a physical product-only industry. They have no access to digital tools and resources. They have no access to platforms that can help bridge the gap between their ideas and the global market. Now, we have several solutions for women like Amina, but today I'm only going to touch on two, which is our digital design studio and our e-hub. Again, I'd like you to imagine Amina in a space where she's able to create and bring her ideas, her ideas to life digitally. A place where she can create, innovate, refine, and sell her designs digitally. That is what we offer at Kuza Africa's Digital Design Studio. It's a creative tech space where fashion meets innovation. Here, fashion designers like Amina can come and create digital products that they can sell, that are ready to sell. And so she doesn't need to worry about setting up an atelier, but she can generate revenue from a digital product. I'd like you to think of an architect. An architect doesn't need to build a house to make a sale, correct? An architect only sells the blueprint. That is the model that we are bringing to African fashion through our digital design studio. Now, apart from our digital design studio, this is how the digital design studio works. Amina walks in with an idea, a sketch, or a vision. And through our studio, she's able to be trained on how to transform that sketch on paper, to transform it digitally. And then from that digital sketch, she's able to create what you're seeing in step 3, a digital product that's ready to sell. This way, she's able to sell her designs to a global market, overcoming the physical barrier. She's able to collaborate with international brands that are otherwise out of her reach without this. We also train her how to create and manage an e-commerce platform to be able to achieve this. Now, apart from this, my clicker is not working. Okay, yes, apart from this, we introduce Amina to a global community of like-minded creatives where she can network, share knowledge, collaborate, and even be matched with like-minded people and even investors. And this way, she's able to find the support she needs throughout her journey, from idea to sell, from idea to sell. Through all our various ways of, through all our various offerings, we have been able to impact 18 businesses so far. And however, this has not been easy. It's been a challenging journey, one being funding limitation, which has deterred us from expanding our services. But we are thankful for partners and collaboration. For example, our partner Apife, that has been very instrumental in the establishment of our digital design studio. But we need further support. In 2025, we want to reach 300 women and make digital fashion accessible to them, either by offering the access to the digital design studio absolutely for free or at a very subsidized cost. And so I'm inviting all of you in the room, whether you're an investor, a mentor, a volunteer, to join us so that we can help reshape the future of fashion in Africa. Murakoze.
Thank you very, very much. Can you hear me? Hello. Thank you very, very much, Usenge. That's a very wonderful initiative. I'm sure we are all fashion people. When I look at the room looks wonderful. You guys are well dressed. Fashion is something that attracts everyone, and everyone wants to be a part of it. Thank you so much for doing that for young people and making sure that they're able to reach this platform and be innovative using the technologies available. We would like to inform you that our keynote speaker is unable to make it. He won't be able to make it today. The Honorable Minister 30, Morasi, won't be able. There is a meeting, an urgent meeting that he had to attend. However, we'll continue with the agenda as it is. Next on our agenda is a panel discussion. We have a panel discussion, and our moderator is none other than Yusuf. Yusuf Mutamba is a project manager, startup funding, and investment at Smart Africa. He's a wonderful young man. Yusuf has extensive experience in business development with a key focus on supporting small and growing businesses, as well as intellectual property, law, and management. And he is going to be our moderator today. Yusuf, you are welcome. And he will introduce the panel. Please give him a round of applause. He will introduce the panel that we are going to have today. You can use this, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Nicholas, for that warm introduction. I don't know about you, Nicholas, but as a man, I'm quite excited. It feels challenging, but also exciting to lead a female-led panel. And today I'm honored to be your moderator for a panel discussion that is basically dedicated towards understanding the key challenges female tech entrepreneurs face through the eyes of the different ecosystem builders that are charged with policy formation, that are charged with startup funding, and also other entrepreneur support organizations. And joining me in this discussion is a panel of distinguished ladies who I verily believe have extensive knowledge and deep understanding of the topic at hand. And without any further ado, allow me to invite each of our panelists to come up here. And I will start off with Grace Usenge, who is the founder of Kuza Africa. Could please join us. Then we also have Josephine Nziranzeimana, sorry for my French, who is the Government Chief Information Officer at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Rwanda. We have Prudence Ngwenya, who is the Director of Women, Gender, and Youth Directorate at the African Union. You're most welcome. And we also have Alice Ngurichinga, who is the Country Director of BPN. I will also be joined by Aline Barabose, who is the CEO of Luna. Once again, thank you for joining us. And before we get into our discussion, allow me to give the audience to the panelists to briefly talk about themselves and also introduce what they do. Thank you. I think I'll start with you.
Good morning, everyone. So as he said, I'm Josephine Nyiranzeimana. I work with the Rwanda Information Society Authority, which is the implementing agency of the Ministry of ICT and Innovation here in Rwanda. So I serve as the Government Chief Information Officer since 2017, and I'm actually heading two departments, one that deals with infrastructure, digital infrastructure development, connectivity, and support, and the digital cluster coordination, which is mainly focused on mainstreaming ICT in all other sectors of our economy, guiding other government institutions on how to adopt and implement ICT. But also we deal with ensuring that people are able to adopt technology. So we run programs like digital access and inclusion initiatives, such as the Digital Ambassadors Program or smartphone penetration initiatives. I'll stop to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. We'll have you, Grace.
Oh, good morning once again. I'm Grace Usenge, and the co-founder and co-CEO of Kuza Africa. And I think it's still fresh in your mind what we do. So I won't speak much on it, but we are empowering fashion designers in Africa, starting with Rwanda. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Prudence Ngwenya. I am very, very sick today.
Sorry.
So I thought I should say that as well. But I was actually booked off, but I woke up this morning and I said, hey, if I don't go to that UN session between Cecile and Anissa and all of them, they will not like me. So I decided to come. But so I'm saying this so that I know there's a lot of young people in the room, and I've met a lot of you because of the work that we do. If you don't experience the prudence that you know with the vibrance and the energy, just understand that I am sick today, and I also have a brain fog. So it's end of year fatigue. But I am the director at the African Union Commission for a directorate in charge of women and youth empowerment. So we do a lot of work with young people. We do a lot of work with women. And the nexus is the young women who we're speaking about today. Thank you.
Aramutse. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. My name is Alice Murikienga. I'm the country director of BPN, Business Professionals Network. And at the same time, I serve on different boards, among others, on the board of Rwanda Development Board. I think before I talk about what we do at BPN, I think I wish to mention that at some point, at your age, I had the privilege as a woman to study computer science in Germany. And I'm truly excited about this conversation today and to build on that experience and inspire those women, because you can get very far. At BPN, Business Professionals Network, it's a Swiss business development program, Swiss International, operating in 6 different countries, and here in Rwanda for the past 13 years. And basically what we do is to identify high growth entrepreneurs and become the partner for growth, providing them with all the resources and the tools that they need to be able to grow, but strongly building on trust, being a trusted partner where they can be vulnerable, where we take a bottom-up approach and provide solutions that are targeted to the individual needs. I will have a confession to make, but I'll make that later, towards the UN women. I'll make that later.
Hi, everyone. My name is Verawose Aline Joyce, whom you met earlier. I'm the woman who brings up uncomfortable conversation, talking about women's health, anything about period, maternity, all the way into menopause. But I also believe that I'm your next partner and friend into breaking this boundary and breaking the box surrounding stigma and taboo about sexual reproductive health. Thank you.
Thank you all for that warm introduction. And like I said, it's a panel of distinguished ladies. But before we get into our conversation, I just wanted to share some facts that will shape ground for our discussion. So we all know, or you'll all agree with me, that Africa is experiencing a significant rise in the number of tech female entrepreneurs. And in many regions, it is reported that 25 to 30% of the startups are female-led. But despite this growth, Africa is still lagging behind, especially on the global average in terms of gender parity in the tech space. And what we are seeing here is that many of the women founders face more barriers than their male counterparts. But just to put this into context, I wanted to start off our conversation with you, Grace. Maybe you could share your journey, and we would want to understand what motivated you and what are some of the challenges you've encountered in your journey, and how have you been able to work around those challenges?
Thank you so much, Yusuf, for the opportunity to talk about my journey. We started Kuza Africa. I'm a co-founder at Kuza Africa. I have two co-founders. And our journey began at a program called Jasiri Talent Investor, where in fact, Madam Alice was a judge during our final demo day.
Hopefully not too tough.
No. The reason why we chose the fashion industry was through research. We found out that Rwanda had banned the importation of secondhand clothing, and so we saw that as an opportunity to seize, because we found out that there are so many incentives to stimulate local production. And so we went ahead and set up a physical hub where we designed co-working spaces for people in fashion to come and co-create together. And we also set up an atelier fully equipped with equipment and tailors, so they could come and produce their designs with us. But 1 year into the journey, we met a young lady who came to us with a book, a full book, a really thick book, a sketchbook. She had been doing fashion design sketches. And she was 16 years old and had dropped out of high school. But looking through the sketchbook, we realized that she's really talented, and she was so hopeless, you know, begging us to help her. And immediately after that, we saw another opportunity. The expectations in the fashion industry that anyone in fashion needs to, number one, be able to sew or design or both. And yet, not everyone in the fashion industry can or even want to sew or design, go that far with production. And so this year we pivoted on behalf, for the sake of this young lady who came to us, because she had no means of paying us for our services, and yet she's very, very talented. And so that's when we came up with the digital design studio, so that young women like her can turn their sketches into digital products that they can actually make money from. And that inspired us to see Kuza Africa as a platform where talented women and young girls like her could walk in and focus on their unique skills and passions without being pressured to produce a physical product. So that was the motivation. With regards to the challenges, obviously, I think funding, for most startups, funding is a very big issue. And as a female founder in this tech space, it's been an issue with being taken seriously and also credibility, because it's a really male-dominated industry or space. But thankfully, that's what we are here today to change. And so proving credibility and being taken seriously has been quite a challenge, and so I've had to work extra hard to prove the value that I bring. And with regards to funding, how we've been able to overcome that is we've leveraged partnerships. You saw the many partners that we have. We are now focusing on those that are focusing on female-founded organizations or social impact organizations. And so through that, we've been able to get where we are. And here today, I'm so glad for the strides we've made, and I hope that we will continue empowering more women to take advantage of digital fashion and the innovations that are coming up in the fashion industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. That's quite an inspiring story. And the thing that is exciting about your journey is that it kind of feeds into the different dimensions that are critical for creating an enabling environment. So you talked about funding as an issue, but you also have other key things like policy, infrastructure, and also network support. But just to get to the aspect of policy, and I'll come to you, Josephine, when you look at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation is at the helm of driving policy. And what I would want to know from you, are these policies addressing the issues that we are hearing from these young entrepreneurs? And how are they working towards creating that enabling ecosystem for the likes of Grace and Aline?
Thanks, Yusuf. Maybe I'll start off mentioning some of the policies and initiatives that we've been implementing in Rwanda over almost 2.5 decades ago. Starting off with awareness and education, promoting girls and women in STEM. And this I'm mentioning because that's where there's a journey to have girls and women join the tech ecosystem starts. And I'm glad to report that we've seen tremendous change, considerable increase in girls and women joining STEM, both at upper secondary and in higher learning institutions. However much it's been said, the girls' numbers in tech industry is still low, but we're not hopeless because we have, I'd say, mentors, we have programs, and we are actually seeing an empowerment movement that is really attracting more girls and women in the tech industry. In addition to that, from the ICT and innovation perspective, through the national broadband policy, we are very much intentional in terms of setting targets that are aiming to close on digital gender gaps. And this, looking at initiatives that aims to, ensure access and affordability is across and is inclusive. We have programs that are implemented specifically to tackle that through digital literacy development, and the likes of Connect Rwanda really trying to solve for smartphone affordability. And the principle is to ensure parity, where women that are benefiting from the programs treated the same way as men. As you target numbers, we want to assure 50% of the beneficiaries are women. In addition to that, we have programs like the Rwanda Coding Academy, where we're solving for the issue around capacity in the local market. And the slots for that particular program is also a 50 by 50 kind of repetition, where we have young girls really qualifying and actually joining that program. I would say that these are really some of the tangible initiatives that we've seen creating a difference, and coming from a policy perspective, when I'll say the government is intentional and sets the vision, it brings about all stakeholders, be it the development partners, be it the private sector or civil society organizations, are led by that framework. They have clear guidance on what's needed and how to go about it. The planning is also done accordingly, and it's easy to channel the resources to solve for the gaps like the ones being shared by young entrepreneurs. And I believe many more to come. And I think such platforms, the Youth Connect and others that are really trying to solve for the real challenges are there to help us get there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And I want to string Prudence along that conversation. So when Josephine was sharing, she said something that caught my ear. That is, we are seeing an empowerment movement that is attracting a number of female tech entrepreneurs. And my question to you is that, do you get the same feeling at regional level? What are we seeing in the African Union? Are we also working towards creating that enabling environment like Rwanda is doing? Are we intentional on supporting these young entrepreneurs?
Thank you very much for that question. I just wanted to ask that you give me an extra minute to that, because before I come to that question, I want to just paint the picture for everyone so that people understand why conversations like this are important. So a couple of things, just to speak about why young women's tech empowerment is important for the continent at the moment. Currently, the continent's demographic is such that about 75% of the population is young people below the ages of 35. But also the population of the continent currently is such that 60% of the global population of the continent is at least a woman. So what we are finding on the continent currently is that the majority of the population is not only young, it's young and female. So when we speak about Agenda 2063, or we speak about developing or making sure that people, the continent, development of the continent is people-driven, it means a lot of it rests on these young females. So just by that, and also really the world moving with technological advances, but just understanding that the way the demographics are, it is such that these women are the ones that should drive the economic development of the continent. So this is why conversations like this are important. Now, coming to your question that you asked, I think for me, it's important to, first of all, start by saying that the role of the African Union Commission is really at the macro level, setting up normative frameworks and normative frameworks that will then guide countries on how to move on a particular issue. We have a normative framework called the African Youth Charter, which was endorsed by heads of state in 2006. It's 20 years, it's going to be 20 years old in 2026. It's going to be 20 years old. We have already started a conversation with young people across the continent to say, how do we make sure that this instrument that guides youth empowerment at country level embraces things like technology? Because at the time when it was done, technology was not a big deal. But now we want young people to come up and tell us, these are some of the things that this document should look into that it was not initially looking into when it was set out. So it is there, but it needs you, young people in the room, to come in and tell us exactly how it should be cultured going forward as part of the review process. We also have Agenda 2063 on the continent that sets the agenda for development on the continent. And at the center is the Aspiration 6, which puts the development of this continent on the hands of its people, like I said, particularly young people. Our mandate is to advocate for equality, equity, and wider access and opportunities for women, like the tech fellow, I said tech fellows, women in tech, as we should. So even in just speaking about that, it's important for me to also highlight that there's already quite a number of programs that are in place at the African Union Commission that accompany these policies or these normative frameworks. We have the 1 Million Next Level initiative, which seeks to empower 300 million young people by the year 2030. And tech and innovation are at the center and one of the pathways that we are going to reach these young people. We also run an AU Tech and Innovation Fellowship at the African Union Commission, and it's basically supported by GIZ, but it's a number of young people that have been picked up across the continent, and it's just an initiative to ensure that young people's meaningful participation, even at the African Union, is at the center. So they come and work with us at the African Union Commission, basically to say, look, most of the people at the African Union Commission will find old horses like myself and even people that are much more older. So they're changing our ways of doing things. We're beginning to embrace technology and new ways of doing things, and they're bringing cooler innovation and much more nicer ways. That's probably why I'm holding a tablet like this today and not a notebook, because of how they actually encourage and the innovation that they bring into the table. I should also maybe lastly and in conclusion mention initiatives like the African Girls Can Code, which is implemented by UN Women and ourselves and other partners. This is one of the ways that we're closing the digital gender gap in Africa by equipping young girls with digital literacy on coding and other 21st century skills. Let me stop here for now, but if you give me another minute, I will come back with the actual figures.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's quite commendable what you're doing at the African Union. But just to complement what you said, from a Smart Africa perspective, we've also rolled out a couple of initiatives. One is the Smart Girls and Women program, but also we have the Sanya platform, which is the Smart Africa network of incubators and accelerators. And here we have a number of initiatives that run across 3 pillars. One is policy advocacy, the other is entrepreneur support, organization network support, and also capacitating VCs. But one of the key underlining themes across these initiatives is that we tend to emphasize the aspect of inclusivity and also gender inclusion. So I think at regional level, I think there's a lot going on, not only at the African Union, but also with other Pan-African organizations like Smart Africa. But right now, I want us to shift our focus now from policy to the other entrepreneur support initiatives. And here I'm looking at other dimensions like funding, infrastructure development. And I'll come to you, Alice. Depending on what is going on with BPN, what would you look at as the key enablers or key support structures you've put in place to support the young female entrepreneurs?
Thank you. Thank you, Yusuf. Can you hear me? I'm not sure if my mic is... Yes. Yes, that's a very good question. So what do we do basically as an ecosystem, as a country in general to empower women? Before I answer that question, I want to appreciate that I see a lot of young men here in the room. And so it's very important that we look at both sides. And very often I'm asked by men, why separate women? Why all these women initiatives? Can't women just compete and move on with everybody else? And I think it's very, very important that we agree that women, it's not that women need pity, that women are weak, or that women need special support. That's not it at all. Women are strong, women are capable. It's just that historically, we have not been mindful by the fact that men and women are different. Men and women approach things differently. Men and women were not given the same opportunities in the past, which has left the women in some areas, especially IT, technical professions, women have been left behind. And we need to catch up on that gap. All the statistics we've heard today, when you look at fundings and you find out that only 2% has gone to women, those are alarming numbers. And that's why we are here, and that's why women in the center. And so looking at what are the barriers, I think before we provide solutions, we need to listen and understand the barriers, and then look at what do we offer to that. I will wait for Janet to be back to mention my confession. Janet, the head of UN Women Rwanda. But there are three things that we have seen being a real barrier and that we try to address with the services that we provide. As I mentioned before, as a business development program, what we do is to support entrepreneurs to grow from 3, 5, 10 staff to 50, 100, but at the same time becoming strong leaders. So growing personally together with the business. And some of the barriers that we see is that women tend to be limited and they are often prevented opportunities due to the imposter syndrome. Women will tend to think small of what they do. They will be very modest. When a woman is applying for a fund, she will ask for a third of the amount of a man in a similar situation will ask for. And if you don't ask questions, she will not get the funds she needed. So we tend to listen to the louder and to oversee the potential that those women have. And so that's one aspect. When we discuss with women, I remember one of the women who is today, she has a leading school here, one of the top international schools here in Rwanda. She was homeschooling at that time. And she came to see us because she felt, oh, I have a small business and I need money. But when we sat down with her and listened, she had a huge vision. And she said, you know, in fact, I really have a huge vision. But do you really think, do you believe that I can do this? And he said, yes, you can. And so this confirmation is very, very important for women. And so taking time to look at potential and not at track record. We tend to design programs that look at what have you achieved? Where have you been? How much money? Tack, tack, tack. You qualify or you don't qualify. Or when we announce programs, there's a huge list of requirements that you have to fulfill that very often do not support women. And when we look more at potential and design programs that try to identify where the potential is, that's where the opportunity is. And a third aspect that is crucial to be aware of are biases. We tend to think of women as mothers, but we don't, when we talk, for many years in entrepreneurship, the topic has been access to finance. Then when it comes to women, we talk about microcredit. Everything becomes micro. Why? We've seen all these brilliant women with a microcredit. There's nothing they can do to get the vision that they have been presenting. So there are a lot of biases that we need to get rid of. There is also a study that shows that when entrepreneurs are pitching in front of VCs, in front of panels, very often women are asked about support systems and security and how they're going to deal with all that. And when a man comes on stage, it's about growth, numbers, capacity, and that's very unconscious. That study shows that we have a lot of things in the back of our mind that influence our decisions, they influence the way we talk, the way we work, and we need to be aware of that and overcome those. So at BPN, see that Janet is not here, maybe I will repeat it for her. So in the past, we used to select just based on potential, and men and women. So where are the entrepreneurs? Where are the champions in Rwanda that will grow to the next level? And automatically, we had always cohorts of 50%, men and women. And at some point, we realized that even those 50 women than men, because women stand less social pressure. A woman does not necessarily have to drive a big car tomorrow and show that, you know, I've made it. Men stand much more that pressure that women do. Women think of how can I take care of my staff? How can we grow? How can I bring my family forward? So they tend to reinvest and grow, and they tend to be also more vulnerable and admit, I'm weak, I need your support. What can we do? And so as COVID hit, we were requested by UN Women Rwanda to create a special cohort for women and offer a business clinic to help those women overcome the impact of COVID-19. And it was the first time that we had only women in the room, 35 women, colorful room, a lot of energy, a lot of wow. And that moment, those 6 months we worked intensively with those women, they changed my understanding of entrepreneurship and how we should be doing things. A woman would take you aside and say, you know what you said, the business I'm doing right now, I'm doing it this way because my husband is saying it, but in fact I'm not convinced. So help me, how can we navigate this? So there are a lot of social realities that hinder women to grow and strive. And if we don't take time and provide that safe space, we cannot achieve that. And another change we have made is that now we decided to be much more intentional on onboarding women. And we are no longer onboarding, by coincidence, 50%, but we have given ourselves the target that we onboard a minimum of 70% women. And we go the extra mile to look for additional women, to offer the opportunity for women. And yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice. And I think as you're sharing, at this point, I wanted to also bring in Aline. When Alice was sharing, you get the feeling that BPN has rolled out a couple of initiatives that speak to the component of capacity building. But I also, don't get me wrong, capacity building is very critical. But I've also been around conversations where people say women are tired of capacity building. So they want practical programs that speak beyond training programs, market opportunities, partnerships, and scaling platforms that will help them translate their ideas into sustainable growth. As a female founder, what is your take on this aspect? Do you feel the fatigue of capacity building? And how have you been able to work around this in terms of, working towards that strategy that is going to give you that scalable effect?
Well, thank you so much. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. I think there's a saying that we're overtrained and underfunded, because even the person who has a little bit of money to give you want to train you 5 times a week. And I think if anyone has been an entrepreneur, there's very little time that you can actually spend in a classroom. However, it is needed. In fact, I wanted to start by saying that Luna and myself are very proud, I guess, partners or beneficiaries of BPN as the recent graduate of Women in Business as well. But we are also partners with Ministry of Health under the Hunger Sexual Reproductive Health program. And to give you quite a truth, as someone who's been running a startup for the last, more than 2 years, we have attended more than 15 different programs. And in those, we all combined raised less than $30,000. And most of these programs would have promising, we want to make you, investment ready, we want to get you here. And I think there's a program that we did that we ended up turning down because of the assessment that we did prior. You learn also as you're doing. We asked them, so during this program of it was supposed to be 2 years, what trainings and programs are you going to do, right? And then we show them from the initial beginning with Grace, with the Jaziri program, here are the course and things that we've been qualified with. Here is the other program of things that we've been trained. Technically, if it's business plan and et cetera, strategies, we have already worked through it. is it possible to be part of the program and wait until, the next part? And there's no adjustment into that, right? So definitely, and I think my take onto it as people who are ecosystem partners, and really, there's no blame or pointing fingers, because I think each partner is there in order to serve a population and to serve the need that is definitely there. One recommendation has always been that we need to be willing to fight the comfort and the laziness of it, to push, like, okay, so we have trained this program. If a person have attended more than 5 different programs, doesn't that call for, how can I reach people in Muhanga, in things, right? So there's a need that where all these ecosystem partners tend to be training the same people, focused on the things, on the same population, yet there's a massive need for all this program to reach a certain population. I think 2 is collaboration between these ecosystem partners. So then you have the same database and cross-checking that I'm going to play a role of training or providing funding for this graduate from this program. So therefore, there's no need to be able to retrain them again. So I think it's the reality and the analysis. And to close that, as much to agree with you, is also, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan on talking about the uncomfortable, necessary details of what it takes. I think a lot of times when we talk about the conversation of tech innovations and female founders, one of the biggest challenges beyond funding and the women in workspaces is how we need to be able to listen to the populations that we're serving, right? When you look at for example, right, we cannot talk about tech innovation without smartphone penetration and access to internet. How many people in Rwanda that actually have that access? Because once you start that startup and you have this big, big platform with AI powered and all of it, who's finally going to use it? Who has access to that platform? Who understands the language in which it's being used? So we need to be able to start saying, before we reach this milestone or this goal, how many people need access to smartphone? How many women specifically have access to smartphone? How many people can easily, how many of these platforms are being built in local languages, not just in Kinyarwanda, but in Kenya, in all of it? And what are the legal regulations around these innovations? Because you start and you're empowered to build this innovation, and when you're ready to go to the market, these partners are not willing to be able to hire you as their first supplier. They're not able to help you translate or reach the market. So there's all of these other issues that we don't necessarily talk about when it comes to tech innovation, and they're very key to supporting founders, be both female or male.
Thank you, Elaine. I think that was quite informative. So right now, I'll open the floor to the audience, and I think I'll take about 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll wrap up with the session. So do we have any questions? Whoa.
Very good.
So we'll take 3 questions.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Lasisi Godwin. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a young public health professional and a SDG advocate. So my question, I'm really glad, I wouldn't call it gender imbalance, but I'm really, really glad that there's a lot of women persons on the panel session. Yeah, we're speaking about gender equality, SDG 5, and I think it's pretty important that we bring all of this into practical conversations. So for my question, I would like to understand what community-owned initiatives can we see to have structures and systems in place to ensure that women, not just women, but young women who are in rural communities have access to resources to be able to see progress considering the 21st century technological boom. Because as we can see, there's limited access to technological devices, gadgets, and I mean, we're talking about digitalization of the AI age. So what systems and structures are in place to ensure that there are community-owned initiatives to have young women have equitable access to resources in this 21st century, considering that we're talking about future generations and the summit of the future? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Prudence, you want to take it?
Yes, I can take it, but I think I'll just speak to the barriers that exist. So for me, based on the barriers that exist, we need to make sure that our programs are responsive to the barriers. So most important is to understand that one of the biggest things that we're dealing with is underrepresentation of women in the tech, and I think they spoke about it at length. So we need programs, whether it's rural communities or the community level, we need programs that are going to target women being represented into this sort of fields. I made an example of the African Girls Can Code initiative. It's one of those initiatives that look into bringing women into the STEM or into those kind of male-dominated sort of fields. There's also the lack of access. And I'm saying this to also say that there are just global issues or barriers that I'm speaking to. But the issue then with rural women or even communities that are isolated is that they will then be compounded. But there's also the issue of lack of access to funding, and I think she spoke a lot to it. But there's also another issue, lack of access to mentorship. I'm even looking at people like my sister here and my sisters there to say that immediately you get catapulted into situations where you are already here and sitting and we're learning from you. How are you also going to mentor other young women or other people that are looking up to you? But that just not apply in tech fellowship, in everything. I'm looking at myself as well, and I'm saying at some point in time I was a young woman. Other people mentored me to be where I am today. So there's an individual role that I also need to play in terms of making sure that I bring other people and I mentor other people. So mentorship plays a very big role, role modeling and mentorship. But also, there's a saying that I learned, and I like to say it a lot now, that says your net work is your net worth. So who are we surrounding ourselves with? If you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a tech person, who are you surrounding yourselves with? People of like-mindedness. And there's really a lot that you can learn from a network. So I think it's really that. There's a bigger thing around stereotypes that we have, also cultural norms. That's a boy's job. That's not a girl's job, and things like that. And I think you also spoke to some of the things around just the boldness of men. We need to speak to our women to be bold enough. If you go, you're making an example of access to loans. A woman will come and ask for 50,000. Men are very bold. They can ask for 50 million, and they may even get it. So that's also the boldness that we need to teach our girls, to say, when you go out there, be as bold as you can. I think I can say that, but I know that other people can also contribute to it. That's just the angle that I decided to take.
I think Josephine wanted to complement your remarks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I think to this question, there's something I wanted to mention on bridging information and support gaps. I think it's been alluded to, but from experience, maybe something I can share. We've been running digital literacy development programs targeting people in rural, underserved communities. One thing we learned, women are best learners. But from how the program is designed, you could schedule training in morning hours, they will not come. Afternoon, they will not come. And you're like, now how are we going to achieve our targets to have 50% women attending these trainings? So we went ahead and met them in their cooperatives and tried to understand what do they need to attend the trainings. So it was interesting that at some point, our team organized a women-only class, and they could schedule flexible hours. Women came and really did well. So imagine in all our programs, if we could do what Aline is asking, hear our audience and learn from them, really take into account what is going to work for them, and then we design around that. And for whatever products or even support we want to provide, let's make sure we don't dictate. We rather customize to meet the needs of the people we want to serve. So for me, I think that's, I'll say, a game changer. And if all stakeholders could really move into that direction, I think we'll be able to bridge the gaps sooner. Because on another note, technology will never wait for us. So we need to really have strategic plans to catch up quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to add on what Josephine was saying. And as you see, as guests here in Rwanda, you see that as a country, we are ambitious, but we are also very strategic in what we do. To answer to your question, there are initiatives, numerous initiatives to provide smartphones, smartphone per family, distribute platform across the country, reduce the price of internet, that everybody can at least pay a small amount of money and access internet, access information. We have youth centers in all districts, in all different, I think it's called villages, in Rwanda, where young people can go and access a computer center where they can access internet. So we had a number of initiatives here in Rwanda that we are grateful for, that we thank our leadership, that because driving that digital agenda is crucial here, especially for women. And there are also different secondary schools that have been put in place focusing on women in technical schools, in technical professions.
Thank you, Alan. We'll take one more question, and then we'll wind up. We'd love to go on and on and on, but like they say, every good thing comes to an end. So let's have one more question, and then we wind up.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm called Annette Nakandi. I'm from Uganda. I work with Makerere University Innovation Pod, and I'm a commercialization officer. First of all, I would like to appreciate this, despite of the fact that many policies, reforms have been implemented. Why is it that there is still a gap? Women are still lagging behind. I'll give an example. If at all we called a meeting, the percentage at which women would appear to the meeting, I would say would be 10%. Why aren't we bridging the gap? Miss Josephine, the government allocates, or governments allocate resources. Development partners have come up, they have funded trainings, capacity development has been done. But why is it that women are still having that leaking or lagging behind? Why are women are still lagging behind? Then another thing I would look at, as we empower women concerning innovation, we should put it at the back of our mind that intellectual property management is also a key factor when we are innovating. Because what happens to these innovations as we move this journey of entrepreneurship? Because these innovations, once something is novel, it has to be protected. For us in Uganda, we have the Uganda Registration Services Bureau that we partner with to help, especially under Makerere University, to help student, staff, stakeholder innovations to be protected from being stolen from others. Because this innovation process is a long process, and it takes a lot of energy really to come up with an innovation. So kindly enlighten us about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you touched two critical areas, despite the various initiatives where women still lagging behind. Then there was the issue about IP. I think that's a conversation that can take an entire day, but I'll let Josephine take the floor, and maybe I would chip in to just highlight on the aspect of IP.
Sure. Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't catch the name, but I think it's what I was alluding to. We need to really listen and take into account the uniqueness for each situation. I would say that we also need to appreciate the journey we've worked so far. When I look at the representation in this room, even at yourself taking the mic, speaking out, I believe we are getting there. So however much maybe we don't have good statistics, but there's progress, and we need consistency and actually more efforts to get where we want to be. So for me, I really, I'm very optimistic, and looking at the testimonies we got from colleagues here on the panel, there's some progress, right? Yeah. But again, let's not be, I'd say, negative in some ways on how we look at things. And I think this is also a challenge we need to tackle specifically, right? When we call for meetings in Rwanda, women are represented. Yes. When we call for action, women are there, right? So the point I want to make here is that let's believe in what we're really discussing. Let's believe in what we are saying and take the lead. Be the one to do that. Set an example for your younger sister and make sure the challenges you are encountering, you work towards removing them for your sisters to come, not finding and fighting the same fight you went through. So maybe you want to share a word with my sisters here, but we're getting there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would like to add on that and really confirm that we are not here to be theoretical and put policies on papers and on files and leave them aside. This is reality, and there's a strong backlog that we need to catch up on, and that's why. But the results are already here. The question is more, what do we need now to really move forward and hit the ground running? If I may share a personal experience, as a young graduate in Germany, when I looked for my first job in IT, I was invited for an interview, and this gentleman looked at me and he said, I did not really invite you to interview you, I just wanted to verify if this is true. A black woman in asking for an IT job in Germany, applying in German. I thought it's a joke. So you're going to tell, so then he started asking me questions just to confirm the authenticity of my application. And so the conversation went on, and then at some point he said, oh, I want you on my team. You're amazing, I want you on my team. And I said, no, I don't want to be part of this team. I rejected the job. And I think what I want to say with that is something that we heard yesterday, and that I believe yesterday at the opening, what the head of UNDP Africa said. Those were very, very deep words that I believe are going to take us to the next level. We need to build skills. When we are competent, then we become confident. And we don't let people under pressures or underestimate us. And we build character. Build a strong character. Stand your ground. Have high integrity. Aim high. Aim at serving others. And so if we empower women to do that, and we give them the capacity to have those three characteristics, I believe we will make a very big shift moving forward, in addition to the policies and all the enabling environment that we need. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? Because the question also remains, why are we doing so much but we're still not seeing the women? So from my experience, what becomes important is to make sure that our approach to empowering women or young people or young women is not fragmented. So what is happening currently, we have, I'll make an example again about programs like the African Girls Can Code or whatever program that is the scholarship program for girls to take courses in mathematics or degrees in mathematics or science or technology. And we do that as an approach and we think we've done it. We tick a box and say we've done it. But actually, the empowerment of women needs to take a 360-degree approach. One, we need to open up the spaces. This is where the policies are important. We need to make sure that we have policies that allow women to get into this sort of courses, whether it's the STEM or coding and things like that, but policies that look at parity. How do we get women to also participate and the environment to allow women to participate? So this is where we stop, but we don't realize that we then need to quickly build the capacity of these women to take up the spaces. I'll give you an example. I sit in the recruitment panels of the African Union Commission. And by saying that, please don't come and see me after this, because I don't have a say on who gets recruited. But I sit on these panels, and we have been on the forefront trying to say, hire women, hire young people, hire women, hire. The AU has a policy, so they have opened up the space. They have a policy that allows 50-50 for women and men in positions, especially senior positions. 35% should go to women. So I sit in there and I make a lot of noise. But what we are seeing is that, oh, the AU has the policy that allows, but we have not built the capacity of the young people to take up these positions. So I sit there and I look at applications. There's no woman who qualifies. There's no young person who qualifies. So I'm saying that the 360 degrees requires that we build the policies, we make sure that we create policies and enabling environment, but we also move into a second space that says, how do we capacitate the woman or the young person to be able to take advantage and compete in these spaces? Because if we don't get there, then that's where the problem is. But there's another third and fourth space. The third space is around mental health and well-being. Look at it this way. If my mental health is on the gutter, I don't care what capacity building program you have. I don't care what space you've created. I just want to lie down in bed and I don't want to do anything. If and this is not just mental health, it's my sexual reproductive health and rights, it's deciding on the number of children that I should have and things like, because children can, as a woman, they will keep you at home and you'll not be able to take advantage. So those are some of the things, peace and security. If I'm in an environment that is unstable, I cannot take advantage of any of those things. So the third space is around health and well-being of the women themselves, to be able to take advantage of either the capacity building or the policy that has been created. The last space is voices, and I'm glad that she made an example of, you are speaking now. This is a forum for women and these young women to speak. We need to make sure that their voices are also at the center of the conversations that we have. So for me, that's a model that I feel works if we look at empowering a woman in those four spaces, not just creating the opportunities and say, take advantage. Because if those other three things are not taken care of, it's still losing.
Thank you so much, Prudence. And maybe just to politely sum up what Josephine, Alice, and Prudence said is that it may seem as work in progress, but we have your expectations at hand. So sit back and feel at home. So right now, we are winding up, and I will ask our panelists in one or two words to point out what is that X factor you think will trigger that empowerment or give us that enabling environment for the young female tech entrepreneurs. So in just one or two words, you could sum up.
I start. Wow. Summing up this great conversation is a bit tricky, but one thing I heard, reserved for the young ladies in the room. We used to say that internet is or was an equalizer. That means for people who really struggled to face some of the challenges Way before, they struggled a lot, but with internet or access to information technologies, we've seen what Grace and Aline were able to do. But today we are talking about AI. It's an X factor. It's a game changer. So in empowering women, let's challenge ourselves. What is AI? What is AI? What is AI? What can it do for you? What can you use it for? That's my concluding
Thank you. So I'm told it's 20 seconds for the one-liner. And maybe.
Oh, for me, I'd encourage us to employ human-centered design, where we are having the beneficiaries of the programs that we are designing in the room. Yes, so when we are saying women are lagging behind, are they in the room where these policies and these solutions are being designed for them? Are they actively participating in the process? So let's employ a lot of human-centered design for solutions that are designed for women.
Yeah, I think for me, I probably concluded in my last statement, is the 360-degree approach to empowering women or young people. But the last thing that I want to say is to also say that a lot of these conversations, we need to take them to the personal level. So I'd like to leave each one of us with a question that says, what are each one of us doing at the personal level? Maybe to mentor or to reach out or to make sure that your voice is heard in the spaces.
Yes, mine will be more around telling you that you're enough. Know that as a woman, you're enough. Never allow anyone to underestimate or underpress you. And build capacity, be competent, and stand up, knock at doors, use opportunities like this. It's great that you're here today. Use opportunities like this. Be seen, be heard, ask. Yes, but mainly know that you are enough. Thank you.
To empower women also means that we have to dismantle the system and structures that causes this barrier and keeps them oppressed.
Thank you so much. We've come to the end of our session, and I would want to ask each one of us to join me in giving our panelists a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Can we give them another round as they stand here for a group photo? As they stand here, thank you very much. That's not enough. Can we give them more? I'll ask the cameraman to come and take over. And as they take the photo, we'll also join them. But for now, we would like to recognize Madame Cecile Mukaruvuga, UN Women Ethiopia Country Representative. Can you say hello to everyone? We are very happy to have you. And as we take the group photo, there's a QR code that's going to be shared on the screen. Please just scan it. There is a form, fill it, so that we can keep tabs with you, we can know who's here, but also for future opportunities, it's important that we keep in touch so that we can give you more information. So all of us will have to join after this photo. Oh, okay, the photo, the camera people will guide us on that. Let me not mess it up.